All right, hello everybody. This is beau-hindman for masterleader.com. It is the 18th of June, 2013. That makes it Tuesday, and we've got a special. Well, every stream with me is special. We all know that. Come on, nobody's going to argue with me. It's Beau. I mean, you feel special just talking to me. But today is especially special because I'm having I'm going to be talking about the West and one of my favorite browser-based MMORPGs, brought to you by Innogames. Innogames, by the way, if you want to check out Innogames, just go to innogames.com. You can sign up for free for all their accounts, and I'm going to talk about that here in just a second. But I have someone special with me today. It is Ashock. Is that how I say it, Ashock?
Yeah, that's correct.
And Ashock, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody, tell them what you do over at Innogames, and how they punish you and all that when you mess up.
Yeah, I'm actually the game designer of the West. I'm working on the project for 4 years now. I started out as the quest writer there, and well, pretty soon took over as the full-fledged game designer. And so, yeah, ask me about features and stuff like that. I should know it.
Very good, very good. And we won't put you, we're not going to hold your feet to the fire if you don't know anything. What we generally like to do with these kind of streams is just to kind of talk about some of the general feel of the game and the to kind of I like to use these type of streams to also introduce new players, especially to the game. And when we have a developer on, it's a great way to just kind of explain some of the basics as well as get into some of the nitty-gritty. So in the chat room there, if you have questions about the West or Innogames in general, maybe Ashock can answer. There's not a guarantee he can answer it all, but go ahead and fire away there in the chat room. And no links in the chat room are allowed, of course. But so if you try to put one up there and you wonder why it's blocked, that's why. But an overall kind of, I want to describe the West, Ashock, as a browser-based sandbox set in the Wild West era of America. Does that sound about right?
That's pretty much how we describe it as well.
Okay.
Of course, I would also put in the role-playing game. Yeah, but it's a sandbox game, and I think that's the most unique thing about the West, that it's actually up to you how you want to play the West.
Yeah, it's a strange one to describe to people because Western gamers especially, we were just talking about this earlier, that in Europe they have a much, I think, higher respect for browser-based games. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of, Western American, Canadian, those, all the people over here in North America who play browser-based games. In fact, they're very, very popular. But in Europe, they just seem to have a little bit more of a respect for browser-based games. Do you guys and girls at Innogames, do you get more reception from Europe, or are you doing the same in America?
Yes, currently we have our strongest market in Europe, but also the US is growing. I don't know if it's coming from a culture difference, because browser games in the early phases were just, I don't know, tables and stuff like that, and not very fancy graphics.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just about managing. And I think especially Germans are quite happy with their numbers and juggling with figures and stuff like that.
Right.
But recently, as the browser games, they got a pretty new face and color, and they look not so much worse than normal client games now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, especially with Unity and some of the other more advanced systems.
Exactly.
In fact, Innogames just released their first Unity-based game, Cartuga.
Yes.
We talked about that before.
Yes.
So yeah, it's fantastic looking.
And yeah, there's no difference actually from the client game there with Cartuga. And I think that's why now the US market is growing and actually starting to like the browser games, because it's quite easy to join a game. You just have to register. There is no download. Well, in the Unity part you have a small download, but it's nothing compared to a client game. So there's just register, start playing, and you're in the game.
Yeah, I want to explain some of the basics before we get too far ahead of ourselves. Basically, what you're seeing here is this is the map that I'm currently in. In fact, the map is massive. It's just massively huge. You're not looking at realistic representations of size and space necessarily. You can see my character down here. He's at rest right now. It's how I like to describe the West is also as like a giant board game. You have your icon or your character your little miniature, whatever you want to call it. I'm an old miniature fan from back in the 80s and stuff like that. Yes, that means I'm old. And it reminds me that you're moving your character around the board with thousands of other players. Now, you're not going to necessarily see other players in real time unless you're doing a fort battle, which we can talk about in a minute. But you can chat with them, you can interact with them in real time. So it's more of what I like to refer to as representative gameplay. And I've talked about this before whenever I've described the West. So you have your little character here, and then you have your character sheet, of course, where your character overview. You have actually a really fantastic avatar generator, which you can change. You know, you can really go crazy. And I tried to create one that kind of looks like me here. You know, and then you have classes and everything. But mixed in with all of those, all of the standard kind of quote-unquote standard MMO stuff like quests and classes and you know, an avatar and all that, you have this kind of this skill-based or this use-based, I guess it would be like a skill-based kind of thing where you can fill out these skills here, and as you level, you get these skill points, and you can become better at jobs or fighting or whatever. So does that sound about accurate, or what am I leaving out there?
No, that's pretty much accurate, actually. You have those skills here, actually, which, well, basically are the main structure of your character. They enable you to do jobs. You can duel other characters. You can use them in fort fights. And so basically these are the ground structure of your character, and which determines how you will perform in your specific task. And actually a fun fact about the avatar generator, which you just showed, is that we have so many different kind of possibilities to create a character that we made, I don't know, half a year ago or so. We did make an inquiry, and we found not a single character that looked exactly the same. So there is no duplicate avatar picture.
Yeah, I could completely believe that, because it seems it's deceptively simple. You can change your mouth, your clothing, your headgear, but I mean, you're talking about what, 10 different things here, and then your background, and once you get into mixing it, it just gets crazy. So you can. I really enjoyed that you so simply allowed players to leave their kind of unique mark on the game like that. Also, once you create your character, you load into the game. You're going to do a lot of quests, introductory quests that you find in this saloon. And what they're going to do is they're going to kind of introduce you to basic gameplay, kind of like quests do. You can see my quest tracker, by the way, over here. On the right side. And just so people know, I am running in a windowed mode, so whenever you're in a full screen mode on your glorious giant screen, I typically run in a windowed mode about the same typical resolution. My window is about the typical resolution of a laptop, 1366 by 768. I have a much larger screen where I have all my stuff I'm streaming on the side. So whenever you run it on your computer, you're going to see a lot more room here for breathe. You're going to have a lot
Actually,
more
the West design is it's optimized for a screen size of 1024 times 720. So it's a pretty small screen size, which we try to adapt the interface to, and then everything scales bigger as the screen size gets bigger, or the resolution gets bigger.
Right.
So we try to optimize our browser game for also older computer models and smaller screen sizes.
Well, and that's one of the advantages of the representative gameplay, is you have this ability that you could, like we were talking earlier, I played on my Nexus 7 device, which is a 7-inch tablet. I can play it on my laptop. This is my gaming PC that can run any game out there, but of course, I have browser games on it. But once you grab these quests, as you can see, like for example here, I've got to defeat this thief, so I can open that up, and I can duel the thief. Now, it might make a gun sound here, so it might frighten you here for a minute, so if everybody wants to just kind of plug their ears. Oh, actually, did you change how the dueling works? Or, you know what, I switched it to HTML only. That's right.
Yeah.
Let me switch that back, and I'll do it. Let me go back here. You have an option for switching between, where do we go here? Interface, chat, dual view, let's do Flash, because that will allow it to make the sounds and all that cool stuff. Okay. So let's see if I can reduel them. Oh, did I not do it? Maybe do I have to restart maybe? Oh, here we go. Let's go to the animated view. Ah, there you go. turn off that sound. But you actually will go through this duel. You can skip to the end. It's just kind of a little cutscene that shows you actually fighting. And of course, he's kicking my butt here, I think. Yeah, he defeated me. Oh, man. So I've got to come back and fight him again at some point. But you can duel players that way as well. And it's this neat little, you can, from this section, you can actually link to the fight, to the report. You can share it on Facebook, and you can do a lot of different stuff. Or you can completely skip that little cutscene if you want. But dueling plays a big part. Is PvP really active? Do you find players really enjoy it?
Yes, yes. Actually, PvP is a very big community going on there. They are communicating about each other if they want to raid another town, and they start dueling every inhabitant of the town, and then that starts a counter duel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And and there's also a system to actually put out a bounty on someone. If you, for example, get attacked by a very strong duelist, then you can just put out a bounty on him, and then maybe another or a stronger duelist comes and well, kills him off for you.
Cool. So another thing, once there's dueling, the quests, for example, as well, if you want, or I'm sorry, another thing besides the quest, and what the quests are going to do a lot of times besides send you on duels, is they might send you on a job. Now, what a job is basically, you'll see these kind of nodes around here, and when you open them up, you'll see the different types of jobs you can do. And when you open up, for example, prospecting, I can prospect. Now, recently, this job overview was done pretty recently, wasn't it? Wasn't it redone, I should say? Changed the job, like the job window was kind of tweaked recently, not so long ago.
Yeah, that's true. We with the remodeling of the map, we introduced a new job system with a single work time for each job, but the community did want to have a more convenient way of planning the work in the game. So we considered introducing 3 different job times. So we have a 15 seconds, a 10-minute work time, and as you're currently not level 20, which will be unlocked with level 20, it's a 1-hour work time.
Okay.
So in the beginning of the West, once you start playing, you will only have those 15 seconds, which are enough for completing the first quests and stuff like that. With level 10, you will unlock the 10-minute job time, and with level 20, the 1-hour job time. And
I can show, actually, I can show them real quick. If I click the 15-second job time, you'll watch my little character here, and you might see it a little bit easier if you're actually on full screen on 720. But you'll actually see him going through the job process. Now, if that was 10 minutes or an hour, of course, it would take that much longer. And you can't see it in my browser tab, but in the actual browser tab, it'll actually count down the timer as well. It'll tell you. So if you have like a string of jobs running, for example, I can click on that again, go to prospecting, and let's say I can do the 15-second one three times in a row. You can see it down here on the bottom right-hand corner, counting down. In my browser right now, it's counting down, and it's showing me what the current job, how much time is left on the current job. So if you're in another tab, say checking your email or whatever, you can go ahead and still keep an eye on your game that way. So it's pretty interesting that way. As you can see, my character's going to go through it. So jobs are important, though. Jobs have got to be, would you call them kind of the mainstay of the game? Is that what people mostly do to level up?
Yes, that's basically our main game cycle. Everything revolves around the quests and the jobs you have to do for the quests. We saw that many players who wanted to make a character who's more focused on PvP, they were practically impossible to complete all the quests, and that was something very sad. And we thought about it. So we introduced this new job system. We saw the 3 different times, but actually we also introduced a level system to unlock jobs. If you can go back to the overview screen of the different jobs which you can select in the.
Oh yeah, where I forget where that's at.
Just click on the no. Just click on the gold mine there. Yeah, okay, we can. Yeah, you can see here there's a little lock sign next to the other jobs. You can currently only do this gold digging or prospecting job,
Right.
and all the other jobs which are provided by the gold mine job point on the map are currently blocked, and they will be unlocked if you click on the circle there. They will be unlocked with a certain level or with a certain labor points you will introduce.
Right.
So here you see this job will be unlocked with level 74, and it was mining sulfur was a job which was quite well easily achievable if you're a higher level player, but there are jobs which were basically unachievable if you focused on PvP.
I see.
So we thought that if we unlocked jobs by level, then we would allow players to to be more diverse in their decision making. It's still a very good option to focus on skilling or to put your skill points into being better in jobs because you will get more reward.
Right.
But a duelist or a fort battle fighter can still complete jobs just to finish a quest. So he will not have a million open quests and can never finish it, but he can actually do this kind of core gameplay. That he can do the quests and be happy about the story in the West.
And another thing is, before we move on to, because I want to talk a little bit about fort battles, is you have this really cool way of, if you just want to search for a random job, let's say you can type in there, let's say cotton or whatever, right? And it's going to show you picking cotton. Now, once you actually put your search term in there, it's going to show on the map these little blue dots. You probably see a little bit easier if you're on full screen. If not, if you're watching on a large viewer. And so if I hover over that blue dot and I click, it's going to actually show. It's going to move the map. Oops, it's going to move them. Oh, darn it! I hate when it does that. Let me get it. There we go. It's actually going to move the map to the location of that job. Let me move this up here. I'm going to minimize that. So once you're at that job, you can actually click there on the marker and you can look at the different things. For example, there's picking cotton. Now, what I want to show people is what's really cool about this game, what makes it really feel epic, is if I wanted to start this job picking cotton, I've got to actually physically move there. So it's at a distance of 17, does that mean 17 minutes? Or is
Yes.
that, okay. So let's say I click start. Now you're going to actually see a little brown dotted line there that's going to go all the way down to my character. And if I don't want to move all this, see, there he goes. He's actually on his horse moving. He'll actually move in real time. You can speed that up if you want with nuggets, which are your cash shop funds. But he actually has to move all the way up here, find this job, and then I can do that job. So a lot of people, correct me if I'm wrong, do they just kind of work, they just enjoy working a lot. They plug in, different jobs and kind of sit back as it happens.
Yes. The point is that you can either schedule your your jobs and then go offline and I don't know, go to work or something, and then once you come back, you will have all the job done, and you can also plan your travels. For example, if you want to play a bit more active, you have to maybe watch the map in the next distance and select the jobs which are quite close to your current location.
Right.
So you can save some time. Also, a good way to save some travel time is actually to just equip, I don't know, a better horse, or you can skill your riding skills, which will all increase your movement speed over the entire map.
Yeah, I'll show those skills real quick. Was that here? Horseback riding. Horseback riding shows your ability to handle your horses. Better riding skills also increase speed on the map. So I have, how many do I have? 18 left? I haven't put
18 left.
Oh my gosh, I haven't been spending my. So let's say I put 3 points into that. I can confirm that.
That's also one point that we had the problem that the players felt uneasy to spend points because they didn't know if they spend the points right. Because if you spend points for a job at the current, you currently need, that means maybe you will lose out on the points you need for the next job. So we wanted to take out this fear from the players, so that though we unlock them by level, you can more experiment with your skill points and putting them into writing skill, for example, or into duel skills or fort battle skills and stuff like that.
Right. There's a lot of different skills. Now, notice also here, if I don't have a current quest running for that job, but over here on this job, and this is something else you added. You added a little quest icon.
Yes.
I actually do have a quest to pick corn, so I could switch that. Let's say I wanted to move that instead. I can actually cancel this little job here, and instead my guy's going to go over here and start moving to the corn instead. So, so that's just a kind of a basic overview of job. Jobs are what I like to describe jobs are as something you do while maybe you're chatting with your guild, maybe you're AFK, you're cleaning the house or whatever, whatever else you're doing, you're checking your email, or you're doing stuff like spending points, organizing your inventory, selling things, Jobs can be a thing that can be an AFK thing, but you do, like you said, I found that I do like to plan them out, so I'm spending my time efficiently. I don't want to waste time necessarily, just because. So that's kind of an overview of job. We have got to talk about forts, because over on according to the chat room, they're saying there's some kind of spoilers about forts that we're supposed to hear. Now, fort battles have always, frankly, eluded me. I've joined a few. I used to be part of a pretty cool guild, and you guys and girls in that guild would have to forgive me, I'm forgetting the name. But fort battles have always confused me. Can you explain fort battles and how those work? And
yeah, fort battles are actually a very unique selling point.
Now there's a fort here on the map I can find and show people.
Yeah.
Where would could I just go on the map and find
You can
one?
just look on the mini map, and there should be this dot in the middle of the map.
Yeah, there we go. So there's a fort right here.
Yeah, right in the middle. There is one.
It's named after Zoe Deschanel, that girl from that TV show and every other show on TV and movies and stuff. So
that's actually one point. If you conquer a fort, you are allowed to name it. So it's a player choice how to name it, and if you don't like the name, well, conquer it. You can change it.
Okay, you can name it after your favorite starlet, all you want. And there is, I don't think that's her in that picture, but anyway, there's a picture of her. I guess. So somebody likes Zoe Deschanel. Very pretty girl. All right, so you have a fort. These are conquerable areas.
These are conquerable, yes. At the beginning, they are actually a construction site. So a town, which is a kind of guild, those are players gathering, and they can, once they reach a certain growth or size, which you can see on the right side in the city, those 5,005 points.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually an indicator about the size. So this town would be too small. They could not build a fort yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this on the right side is a player-owned town right here.
Yes.
Right.
And so once you have a certain size, you can go to a construction site of a fort and you can start constructing it. And to construct a fort, it needs a pretty hard effort of the players of the town. So everyone has to work together, collect products from the jobs, and also contribute some labor. So you have to put in some time to construct actually the different kinds of buildings here. You can see like the flag or the resource tower or the barracks and stuff like that. And once the fort is finished, you get a nice little picture like this one, and now it's up to you to defend it, because this is now currently your fort, but that doesn't mean that it can stay or it stays all the time in your possession. So other town or union of towns, which are called alliances, can actually attack your town. They will. They will make a claim, and after 1 day, exactly 24 hours, the attack of the town of the fort will start.
So they have to declare it first, and it kind of gives you a warning, because whenever I was within my old town and or alliance, whatever you call it, so we would have a message saying, everybody join up for this fort attack or whatever, and we'd all
So basically, it means that the town which currently owns this fort will get a mail warning. And so it's up to them to actually collect the members to defend it. One town can maximum contain a number of 42 members. So a fort battle can be up to 100 or 200 players. So it's a massive battle, and which cannot be supported by just one town. So you need an alliance to well, a union of many towns to actually defend or attack a fort. Um, so
Now,
basically, only the town gets the warning, but then you need to actually talk to the other towns and collect the members to defend your fort.
now I don't, because I'm not a member of a town right now. My old character was, but left that one. Is there a way I can? I don't think there's a way I can see like the fort, because the fort screen is really interesting how it works. It's like it's like almost a little miniature a board again, a board game. You have to place your character. Can you kind of explain how the attacks work and
Yes,
what the point is?
actually, the fort battle is a round-based game, and there will be attackers and defenders. Before the actual fort battle starts, you have to move to the actual fort site. You have to be, well, you have to be physically there with your character, and then you can actually join. Yeah, here you can see those are two fort battles which are currently going on this world, and you can also join as a member who's not actually part of an alliance, because you can be like a freelancer. A freelancer is in a very well, in a very special position, because he can choose if he wants to defend or if he wants to attack the fort. And alliance is only able to attack or defend, because well, one of the leaders has decided we want to attack, or if it's your own, of course, you only have to defend it.
Right.
So then a second second screen pops up once the you have seen this little button on the right side corner of an active fort battle, which will go on tomorrow in these both cases, and then you can, once you're at the position, or no, you don't even need to be at the location at that point, you can select a position on the actual battlefield.
Right. But I would have to be, I am not a member of a town currently, but if I was, I would be able to actually click on the name here and click like that, and it's actually going to start walking me after I do these current jobs. It's going to walk me to this fort. Now, once I walk to this fort, I click on the screen to fight it or whatever. Let me click on that real quick. Well, there we go. Where it says 2 arms, I could actually click on that, and then it's going to take me. And I wish I would have prepared ahead of time and joined a town and to show everybody. But you'll actually maneuver. You actually have to tell where, you have to declare what you're going to do, where you're going to attack, and all that stuff. And then once it kicks in, I mean, I always died within 5 seconds. I was, I mean, there were players who were much better. I just would participate for the fun of it. But it's a really interesting concept. Now, what is the spoiler that we're supposed to hear? Is there something you're going to announce about forts, or what are they?
Actually, there is some a couple of spoilers I'm actually can talk about. As I can read in the chat, or I saw some comments about it. Actually, health points are currently quite strong. So if you skill on health points, then you're basically unkillable. Well, unkillable is too much, but you can take a lot of bullets, and that was basically a bit too strong. But we didn't want to take away this possibility to build a tank, as we can speak in a role-playing game. And as you can see, with strength points added, you can see that the health points actually increased. And also, if you put skill points in the little heart symbol on the right side, that would also basically increase your health points. And so basically, we didn't want to take away this strength of building an HP pool or a life point pool, but we strengthened the other abilities which need to be which are necessary for the fort battle, because we have an offense and a defense ability. So the offense ability and the defense ability are working against each other. So the actual value, which is will determine if you hit or if you miss a player.
Okay.
And if my offense ability is higher than your defense ability, then I will hit you, and the other way around. Of course, this is a random value, but the higher my offense value and the lower your defense ability, the higher is my chance of actually hitting you.
Okay.
So if you are building a tank, you have to focus on putting all your skill points in the life points, in the health points. So you will not be able to put a lot of points in the other skills which are necessary to increase the offense and defense abilities.
I see. So you
So
can still do the tank roll. You just have to be careful because you're kind
exactly.
of okay.
So basically, the tank role will be you're just standing in the way and blocking the shots for the others, but you will not hit anything, and you will be hit a lot. So basically, it's the health or the tank is just kind of meat shield. So he really gets the damage, but the damage he receives will not kill him instantly, but he
Okay.
will survive a couple of rounds, which gives the second line of fire a bit of extra time to shoot on the other targets.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a more strategic way of putting the healthy targets in front of you and the not so healthy targets with the high offense skills in the second line.
So I mean, because in a fort overview, and again, sorry guys and girls in the chat room and watching this later, I didn't prepare I didn't join a town because this is a new character. So, but in the fort overview, you actually have to show people. You actually have to choose where you're going to be standing. So what you're saying is that, and now these changes are coming. They're not currently in the game, right?
They are currently these changes are currently on the beta, and
Okay.
they are currently tested if they are changing a lot. And we have another thing in the backlog, which will be put on the beta, I guess, next week or in 2 weeks, which are actually two new values which are coming to the fort battles, which is a damage increase. So you can actually increase your damage by skilling on it,
Mm-hmm.
and you can increase your resistance. So resistance will negate the damage you actually receive.
Okay.
So it's also two skills which will be negating each other's out. So
And so
having
you
a
have a
high
chance for people to kind of do. They can do kind of a hybrid if they wanted. They could do
yes,
a lot of
exactly.
health, but maybe good. So this is gonna give people a little bit more of a reason to try different roles. I
Yes,
guess.
exactly.
Yeah.
So like in the fort battle, which also has a resistance and a damage dealer, or a target uh, player with a high aim or high dodge value, and you have the life points. So these kind of role models will also be participating in the fort battle now.
So are you finding that? And you said this earlier, but just to kind of recap, you're saying that people who have currently kind of tanked out, like put a ton of health in, pretty much are going to be surviving the current fort battle. So now this is going to maybe throw a wrench into the works a little bit. For those people who might have rolled complete health and went with a lot of health, are you
Mhm.
giving them a chance to? Is there kind of like a respec, or is there some way for them to
Yes,
kind of
we
try
have.
something?
We will introduce a possibility, like a quest or something, or everyone will get a free reskill potion to actually reset their skills if they want to. Of course, they can just keep the potion or the quest active if they don't want to reskill for now. But of course, everyone who has skilled for offense and defense, of course, also needs to get a chance to maybe spec on damage for now.
Okay.
So everyone will get a chance to reset their skills once the quest is, or once the testing phase is over, and this feature will come live to the world.
Oh, sure. You'd have to do that. I imagine you'd have to give people a chance to try out something
Yes.
new that you just added, and or you probably have a riot in the streets and everything like that. So, okay, okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It just read some points there. So it's still that there will be dueling skills, and there will be fort battle skills. So there will be only still aim and dodge, which focuses on fort and duels. So all the other skills will be staying the same. So for example, leadership is fort battle skill, and leadership will have some impact on the damage, for example.
Okay. So you're basically what you're saying is you're kind of doing a balancing. You're trying to get a little more balance going on.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Because the health pools of the players are getting a lot bigger, as we are introducing new items and new content, and this will, for example, give out free points, free skill points and stuff like that from quests. So the skill points which are currently in the game are getting bigger and bigger because we have players who actually played the West for 5 years now.
Wow.
And consistently. And as we just had our 5th birthday, actually in April.
Yeah. Awesome.
And so we have very, very long living players on the worlds, and of course they collected a lot of stuff, and we have to, balance accordingly. And I hope this actually works out, and the damage and resistance stuff is received quite well. And another spoiler, which is a lot, I guess, more in the future, is that we actually want to introduce we call them multiplayer instances, which are working similar to the Fort Battle, but you can do them actually against NPCs. So there will be different kinds of sizes for this multiplayer instances. So you can basically, for example, fight with 4 other players against a bear, for example.
Oh, wow.
And the bear will have some unique abilities, and you can use your Fort Battle skills to actually participate in that.
So will it'll act kind of like a miniature Fort Battle in a way?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, wow.
And this should go up until we reach a full Fort Battle size with NPCs filled.
Wow.
Or NPCs can attack your fort. If you are living on a world with no contestant, well, fear for the NPCs.
But that's cool, though. You're basically talking about kind of factional stuff in a way, like or an environment that reacts to you.
Yes, exactly.
That's awesome.
That's something in the future. It's a long way to go, but that's definitely something we want to do for this year. So it should be coming this year, hopefully.
Very cool.
Not with maybe every kind of gameplay model, but at least 1 or 2 different map styles should be on the way.
Right.
And also we want to work on the graphics of the Fort Battle itself. So it should be, as the Fort Battle was designed by developers in a phase in which the graphic artists we had were occupied with other stuff. So the Fort Battle is actually not one of the best looking, but one of the best, performing features we have.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty basic looking thing, but it's very there's a lot of information there, and if you're used to it, I imagine that it's a little bit easier to navigate. But it is a little bit confusing for a new player. I can tell you that much. Whenever I joined, when I was just like, what? I didn't really take the time to learn it. So
it's huge, and that also, of course, the if we have a multiplayer instance with 5 players against 1 target, it's much easier to learn because there is much less going on.
Now I can't remember for sure, but is there a Fort tutorial in the game that teaches you about it?
There is a little wiki, like a little article in the wiki about the Fort Battle, who teaches you about, it teaches you about the facts and the theory behind it. But there's, you have to actually play a Fort Battle and maybe 2 or 3 to actually really grasp what's going on.
Right. I don't want no wiki. I want a tutorial. I want you guys to get.
Of course, there are also a lot of YouTube videos out there where you can just see and watch Fort Battle fight. Because once you participated in the Fort Battle and you feel this, you're actually playing with hundreds of other players together in one huge battle that really gives you some kind of rush and good feeling. If you, for example, if you're the last man standing in a Fort Battle after 200 guys just died, that's awesome.
Yeah, in fact, I try to tell people that a lot of times because on Massively we write a lot about I mean, we're a mainstream, what you would call a mainstream MMO site, but of course, we write a lot about independent games or unusual games or browser games. I do a mobile column, and a lot of my readers are a little bit are kind of classical, EverQuest players, stuff like that. And I say,
Yeah.
no, there is, trust me, even though I didn't know what was necessarily going on in the fort battle as much as I wanted to learn, and I'm slowly learning more, it was exciting to watch it happen and to watch the results, because it's like I was saying, it's like a giant, inside your browser window. It's like you're playing the West is like a board game, and the fort battles are like a board game within the board game, but it's in real time. It's just this really, your brain fills in all these details about this massive battle, so it's a really neat
Yeah.
mechanic for sure. Now, do we have more spoilers about the forts?
Well,
You can make
actually,
some up if you want. You can just make.
yeah, we on the horizon, we're currently evaluating if it's a technical possibility, but if it's possible, we would like to introduce also world versus world fort battles. So actually, I can attack the fort of another world, and these would not be a battle for domination. So I cannot take away the fort, but it's just fun if two huge alliances are fighting it out. Who's the best in the world?
Wow.
And so hopefully we can get there this year, and also there's some cool stuff coming out actually in the near future.
Hmm.
Also, we are focusing on the main storyline, so we also do not only want to introduce multiplayer stuff like that. We also want to introduce new content, so there are new quests coming. Actually, there are already, I think, 80 quests coming with the next patch, which will help the new players to get better into the game and into the features we actually offer. Because if you get into the West and you play for 10 minutes, you have barely scratched the surface.
Oh
of
yeah. I mean, I've been playing it off and on for when did I first start playing it? My first character was deleted, and we talked about that first because
Yes.
I went a month without playing it. But so I played it for a while, and I'm still figuring stuff out. But what I like about the West is that you can play in 5 and 10 minutes a day. But what you find is that you'll play in those, at least for myself, I'll play in those small chunks. Maybe I'll do like a bunch of duels like I'm doing right now. But over the day, it adds up to a lot of time. So you just kind of leave it running all day long. It's one of those. Is that a typical experience, you think, for a player, or what? How do you players typically play? Is that something you hear that's pretty normal?
Actually, the old players are kind of used to this playstyle that you just you can go you're waking up, you're having breakfast, and then you put in some work and you look up some quests and you do the stuff you need for the quest, and then your character is doing stuff for, let's say, 4, 5, 6 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and you can go to work and you wait until your lunch break, or maybe, I don't know, if you're working in a gaming company, you can look into a game even during your work time.
Yeah.
And you can just keep on working and put in some new stuff, and so basically our old players had 2 or 3 game sessions a day, which were only 5 minutes long or so. But with this new job system and the new players coming into the game, we actually have a new kind of player who actually plays consistently for 1 or 2 hours, and then stops playing for the day and comes back the next day. And with the different work times, you always have the feeling that your character is actually doing something, even
Right.
though you're not at the screen. And this is quite good because it's if you log out, for example, if you take a classical MMORPG like World of Warcraft,
Mm-hmm.
if you log out, your character is idling.
He's not doing anything. Yeah.
He's doing anything. So you have this pressure to actually go online always, because you will always be lost, or you just you don't get your stuff. And this we hope to achieve with the West, that you don't get this feeling that you all kind of play styles are supported. So
Mm-hmm.
if you want to play active, you can play active. If you don't can or you can't play active,
Mm-hmm.
you can actually play a passive play style.
Yeah, which is kind of I go between the two. Sometimes I'll sit down for a long time, and like I have my Nexus 7. It's a 3G model, so I can carry it with me anywhere. It's basically almost like a phone. You know, you've got Skype on there and everything, and I'm in the habit of carrying it with me because it's so perfect for for checking my emails and all my social networking stuff, but also for playing the games that I cover for Massively. And one of them is the West. I can literally check in anywhere from that and just kind of see my character, what he's doing, maybe put him on a couple jobs, and so it's a really flexible game. All right, so besides the fort spoilers,
Yeah.
we're talking about some balancing, and we're talking about possibly some like multiplayer bear fights and some killer stuff like that. Now, the world ones where maybe you could fight a fort from another world, is the only thing they get out of that, is it just bragging rights, or is there more? Do they get anything actually out of it, or is it pretty much just
Well,
bragging?
about rewards and stuff like that. Well, it's currently at the proof of concept state because we are not sure if our technical background can actually support this.
Okay.
Because the worlds actually are existing next to each other. So we need to get the data of one world and we need to get the data of another world and then compare it. So this is some technical stuff, which actually I follow the developers, but I'm not so sure if I understand it all completely.
Right.
I just know they told me, well, we have to check it if it's really working. But of course, if we have something like that, we would like to introduce a world ranking. So this is the top alliance of the entire international world, for example.
Right.
So all worlds put together, you are the number one. So it's a bragging right, of course, and maybe we could put in some cool features, like you can put, as you can see here in the town, maybe you can put just in some nice, I don't know, bragging buildings or something.
Yeah, like some customization.
Monolith or something like that, which shows you're the best of the world.
Mm-hmm. Which that's really where MMOs gained, I think, a lot of their ground, especially when they first came out, is because people could work for a goal, especially with their friends or their buddies or whatever online, and actually achieve something. What I like about the West is it allows you to kind of play however you want, and that's what I mean by a sandbox. Is you can literally play casually, or you can do something like be a hardcore. I mean, one of the players I talked to, he was on my buddy's list, which when this character my old character was deleted, I lost it, but I'll find him again. But his character was amazing. When you looked at his profile, it was just amazing. The stuff he had on him, his equipment. He had links in this thing that would show that was an off-site thing. I think somebody used your API and made. Anyway, just this impressive character that he built up over years and years, and it's really that kind of a game that if you keep up with it, you really can come out with a really unique character. I mean, you've got the customization. Oh, and by the way, so the fort battles, are we done with spoiling that, or is there anything else you want to...
Concerning fort battles, there's I think no spoiler currently left.
Okay, and now
that's a lot of stuff actually.
That is a lot of stuff. I'm more excited for the multiplayer, like the bear fights and just the opportunities for something like that, because that also is going to give a different layer to the world.
Yes.
You're not just doing jobs; you're actually attacking things in the environment. Now, I don't know if you can say this or not now, but let's say that you wanted to participate in a bear fight. Does that bear, is it like a node, kind of like a job, or is he walking around, or how does that work?
Well, we're currently not sure about that. Of course, for the immersion, it would be something on the map. So I don't know if we, for example, place a big bear cave or something,
Right.
On which you have to go there, or maybe there's like the fort battle overview. There's a kind of grouping system where you can look for a group, or you can start a group and stuff like that, and you can invite new players, and then you will be automatically transported to this location.
Right.
So you will not have to wait for other players, as you just saw, some distances are quite big.
Oh yeah.
So you do not have to wait for 2 hours until the player reaches to this cave. You will be instantly transported there. So this does not mean that your character really flies over the map, but it just spawns the instance, and you can fight the bear. The bear den is just a well, a visual representation on the map that he actually is on the map, but you do not have to move there.
Well, the West has to balance itself between realism and,
Yes.
representation, because you have these massive maps, so if you made somebody travel in actual real time, we're talking 30 days,
Yeah.
so you've achieved, I think, a good balance of that. By the way, we have about 7 more minutes of streaming, so if anybody in the chat room does have a question, you need to get it in now, and possibly he can answer it. I'm not really sure.
I
But
hope so.
I wanted to ask you here, here's a ghost town, for example. If I saw that as a player, is
Yeah.
that a blank area that I can, if I was a member of what does this mean? I could found my own town?
Yes, exactly. If a town is actually constructed and then all the players leave this town, it's converted into a ghost town, and you can go there. You can give it a new name,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can start over this town and start from where it was left off. So this, you can see it has currently construction point 625, so you can start on this town right away. So you can, yeah.
So even a new
Take
player
over
could
this
kind
town.
of get a town going.
Yes,
Wow.
exactly.
And that's essentially what other people would call a guild or corporation or whatever.
Yeah.
That's you found a town. Okay. So, but I mean, I would recommend. I don't know what you would recommend, but I would recommend a new player joining a town first.
Yes, that's a very important task, and actually also one of the more fun parts of the West is this community factor you have in towns. So we also are working on ways to get new players a more specific way to get into towns. So and easier tools also to find towns and for players who actually have a town to find new members for that town.
Right.
Because it's kind of it's too late introduced actually the towns. So players actually get the real fun part in the West once they join a town. And actually to join a town is quite important because otherwise you cannot duel other players.
Yeah, which they were saying in the chat room, by the way, nobody can duel me right now, and you can be dueled when you're AFK if you want, or if you're, you're just sitting there. Somebody could duel you and take your money, possibly not all of it, but they do take a chunk of your funds, and can knock your energy down. So you have to be careful about it. But without being in a town, I can't be dueled, but I can't duel anybody else. Is that correct? Yeah. So I mean, I joined one relatively quickly. Granted, I get usually quite a few invitations as soon as I do a stream of a game, for guilds, all sorts of stuff. But I joined a really nice one, and what was cool about it is just the sheer amount of information I could get from them. I would ask a question. There were expert players, and everybody was really friendly. So it's in that way, it's like a typical MMO. It's a multiplayer experience. You're really missing out if you don't join a town. So on this character, I haven't joined one yet, but I'm going to shop around and definitely join one. Let's see here. Any questions that I'm looking for? Extend the stream a bit. I wish it was that easy, but there are other people who are streaming. As a matter of fact, what is today? Tuesday. After me, well, nobody until 8 p.m. I might be able to show it real quick. Here, let's not message me right away when I'm trying to chat. But what fort battle? There was another fort battle going on. They were saying maybe I could grab that. But see, I won't be able to see it because I'm not a member of a town, right?
No, you can actually join a fort battle. They just have to invite you because that's, as it is a very elite feature, you will be, the town or the fort commander will inspect you, and if your stats are not fitting his needs, then you will not be invited to the fort battle.
Okay.
But maybe you can, they're...
Let's see. I thought one of them was starting pretty soon. They were saying 23 minutes. I can't go that far over. That's a little too long. But basically, I'll stream the fort battles sometime. The forts are alone. You could make a game just the fort battles. You really could. It's just it's kind of that intensive a thing. So, but anyway, I'll definitely do a stream sometime just about forts. In fact, I need to make just a tutorial kind of thing about forts to kind of show people how to play them. But I'm still figuring that out. All right. So besides that, we have the bear fights. We have the additions to the fort battles. The stats on a player and everything like that. If somebody's starting out in the West, brand new. Of course, they've gone over to Innogames.com and signed up for free. We all know that. Come on, everybody, go over there and sign up for free. What's cool about that is it's an all-in-one account. It's kind of like Sony or some of the other publishers out there. But every one of these, I think every one you can run, yeah, they're all browser-based games. Forge of Empires is a real cool builder. Greepolis is my other favorite. Cartuga is your Unity game. It's a little more advanced. Tribal Wars is your oldest game, I believe, in Lagunia, and then the Force of the West. So when you sign up, you get access to all those with one thing, and it's really cool. But once they sign up, what do you think they should do right away? Just run through the initial quests? Should they?
Actually, we have we have a new tutorial quest line in the beginning, which we're working quite hard on, and is also currently in the stage of improving, and so that we have a very easy introduction step for new players.
Mm-hmm.
And after you complete the tutorial, head over into the saloon and take on the quests you will receive, and join a town as soon as possible.
Yeah, and this is the saloon he's talking about, by the way, over here on the left-hand side. It's basically a kind of like a pop-up quest giver. It represents, so whenever you finish these quests, you don't necessarily have to go all the way back to the quest giver. You just open the saloon again.
Yeah.
Again, using some of that balance between realism and, whenever I first played, I remember I would finish a quest, and I don't know what I didn't do. I don't know. This is what noobs do. I didn't know that I was like, where does the saloon at? And they were saying, what are you talking about? I was like, well, I've got to get back to that saloon to turn in the quest. And they were like, no, you don't. I was like, well, how do I turn it in? And you open the quest giver. I don't know what I was thinking. Yes. It was like my first hour in the game. But as you do these quests, for example, this little paper on here has repeatable quests you can actually do as well.
Yeah.
As you finish them, you can actually just open the quest giver through your quests. I'll show it real quick here. Where's my quests? I forget.
So the quest, the repeatable quests are actually also for old players or for situations in which you currently have no other quests available, just to fill the silence.
Yeah.
And because we have quite a lot of quests, we have over 1,000 quests in the game, and but it's not enough actually. We need more quests and more quests and more quests, and our players are demanding a lot of quests, and I think that's they're good right, because the West is such a long running game, and a role-playing game just needs content, and so we hope we can provide a lot of new quests in the future, because that's what keeps the game active.
Yeah, it's got to be hard, because you people will burn through them really fast. I'm sure.
Yeah.
So it's got to be one of those constant balancing acts. But that's about the hour actually right now. We are we can stream. We can have you back anytime. Talk to West anytime. The West is always a fun game to stream because it's so unusual. There's no sound in the game, but you can play music during it or whatever. That's what I typically do, is I play some music in the background as I play and stuff. But what's cool about the West is it's completely flexible. You can be hardcore, you can be casual, you can play on 5 minutes a day or an hour a day or whatever. You can play on your tablet device, on your iPad, whatever. I use my Nexus 7, like I was saying, so it's just a really flexible experience. Is there anything that you want people to know before we leave? Anything you kind of want to
actually, there's also the other part, that the West has a really good community, and you can just hang out in the game and just chat with your friends in there, or with the community, because they will really answer you, and if you look into the chat, there's always something going on.
Yeah, it's very active. Being that it's so international as well, there's always someone on. You don't have these dead times where there's nobody in the game. There's always somebody in the game. What I find is it takes a lot of like standard client-based gamers. They look at it and they're like, oh, they just kind of scratch their head, and then once they start getting into it, they realize that it's kind of like a book in a way. Your mind fills in a lot of the details, and it's really exciting. So I'd recommend everybody checking it out. It's one of my favorite. In fact, it's easily on my top 10 list right now of favorite MMOs, and that's up there with some really intense MMOs. So
thank you very much.
Yeah, anytime. So all right, if anybody wants to follow me on Twitter, of course, you can follow me at beau_hindman. You can send me a message, say hey, what's up, or whatever. You can also read me. You can also read my articles over on Massively. If you just go over to Massively, you can go on the right-hand side and you'll find my name. But there's my articles. I cover all that. Make sure you go to the Stream Team, which is at the top of Massively, and click on the Stream Team schedule. For example, after me today at 8 p.m. EDT is Pirate 101 with Larry and his daughter. The most funniest, hilarious thing you'll ever see is him playing with his kids, because sometimes they'll just say something that kids say. It's just really funny. And then MJ's up with EverQuest 2. Tomorrow I'm going to be playing the same time, my new normal time, 5 p.m. EDT. I'm going to be going through some max level EverQuest content with I think Tom actually, a head dude over there at EverQuest. So if you're an EverQuest fan, or even if not, you just are curious how insanely hardcore some of the max level stuff is, watch tomorrow at 5 p.m. EDT. But anyway, Ashock, unusual name, but I appreciate you coming on the stream.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Anytime now, when these bear fights go in, I've got to participate with one of those.
Of course.
So you have to let me know about.
They will be a challenge, but yeah, hopefully you can kill one.
Well, I'm not going to let this character be deleted. I'm going to keep him active. I don't know
no,
why.
No, actually, that will no longer happen. We no longer delete characters. That's an old remnant from tribal wars and stuff like that, because that was necessary to make space on the map. But we figured out, well, why do we want to delete our characters? They are making the world, so we do not want to delete them any longer.
That is an old school thing. That's like an old school thing. Like, hey, your character's not active, you're deleted. But hey, it's all right. He wasn't that. I think he was 25 or something like that. And what's kind of fun, what's kind of cool about a game that has such depth like the West does, is that starting a new character is kind of fun, because you've already learned so much that it's a little smoother. You're kind of not repeating past mistakes, so actually I'm enjoying recreating this character, so no problem there at all. But anyway, everybody, I appreciate you joining me. Thank you for Ashock again from Innogames, and thanks to Innogames for always coming on my streams anytime I ask. And stick around. Larry's going to be Larry's going to be playing Free Realms later. At least was that what it was? Was Free Realms? Pirate 101, I'm sorry. He's going to be playing Pirate 101 later, so check that out if you're into Pirate 101. It's a fantastic game. Thank you, everybody in the chat room. And this recording will be up in the more video section. If you missed the beginning of it, it will be linked there if you go to videos and then go to more videos. And, of course, we'll be sharing it on our Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff as well. So thanks again.